Look at that. I am perfectly on time. I'm so proud of myself. It's the little wins that, just make everything go your way, right? During the day. I'm going to do what I tell you, and I'm going to share this chat on my personal Facebook page to get some people watching today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just did the Instagram teaser, so I hope people find us today. La da da, where am I here? And okay, let's look up more than lupus. Here we go. Let's share it. Talking about lupus and the kidneys today. I really hope we get a good crowd here. This is going to be one of those chats that you're going to want to share with people. It's going to be a good reminder chat for many of you who maybe have forgotten how lupus can impact the kidneys, and to kind of talk about some ways that we can be proactive with our kidney health and just be aware. Proactive instead of reactive is the goal, right? You want to stay ahead of the ball and not get yourself into a pickle. Well, then you need some major intervention for your kidney health. So I'm just going to dive in because we've got a lot to cover today. And I'm so thankful that I have my voice back. I wasn't able to be with you last week because I had some weird throat infection. I had zero voice. I couldn't even squeak this time last week. So really, really glad to be back with you today. Hello, Lupus Facebook Live support chat. Welcome all. As people log in, don't forget to share this on your personal Facebook page. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're actually going to do a little giveaway at the end of today's session as well. As I mentioned, I am back after a great sickness travel through my family. I actually think we all had different things somehow, some way. My husband, Nick, had influenza A. My son, Luca, had some sort of cold, sinusy thing that went into a really painful ear infection that he just got off of antibiotics for. And then he got pink eye too at the same time. And I had, as I mentioned, a 2-day throat virus, completely lost my voice, couldn't even squeak. So sorry, I had to cancel with that. But it is March. It is March. Can you even believe it? And thank you, Kira, for joining from the UK. So happy to have you here. It's funny. I feel like every time I come on here, I will say, can you even believe it? It's the new year. Can you even believe it? It's February. Can you even believe it? But I'm going to say it again. Can you even believe it? It's March. It is March. It's like I forget that time marches on. Oh, time marches on. Pun intended. Because it's March. There we go. Can you even believe it? Yeah, I know. I say that a lot. So to get us started for today's session, I read a poem a few days ago about March, and I thought it was so precious, and I posted it on my personal Facebook page. So I think I'll just read it for you guys as well to start off this chat. And then March swept in with its breezes and rain, readying the lands for spring with scattered bursts of sudden color, rising from the dull ground while announcing their desire to breathe life again. I don't know anything about certainty or being sure or steadiness in this unforgiving world, but I do know about seasons, especially spring. Spring always comes again. Spring always comes again. And that's Victoria Erickson who wrote that. I just thought that was so beautiful and poignant. And time marches on. Spring always comes again. Even in the uncertainties of whether it's your illness or this political climate we're in, or maybe there are other things that are happening in your life that feel very insecure and uncertain. you know the seasons will come. Spring always comes again. Life goes on, and things are usually not as bad as they seem. They can be really hard, yes, but we conquer by continuing. We conquer by moving on. And I love just the sudden bursts of color rising from the dull ground. Oh, what beautiful, beautiful vocabulary there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me introduce myself for those of you who are joining for the first time, or maybe haven't been here in a while. Maybe you were referred to us by a friend. If you are joining for the first time and wondering kind of how this all works, I'm going to introduce myself in a second, but go ahead, post any comments, questions, concerns. Maybe you are here for the first time and you want to know what we do in our offerings. Maybe you are going to the rheumatologist for the first time and you have questions about what to expect. Maybe you're considering trying a new medication like Saphnelo or Benlysta, and you want to know if anyone's been on it and their experience and how it kind of works. Maybe you have a question about a lab test or how to explain what's going on in your body to people who seem aloof or maybe just don't understand chronic illness. Maybe if you're trying to decide to tell your boss or not to tell your boss about your diagnosis, you have questions about disability, all of those things. Those are questions that we deal with every day here. So go ahead and post them. And I'm going to get through our what we call information and then give you a little inspiration. And I start at the top of the comments and I will work my way down. As I mentioned, please share this chat because not only are we going to have some incredibly helpful information about your kidneys, we also are going to do a giveaway at the end. So I'm trying to kind of ramp that back up as we kind of move into May. So we've got a lot going on. So anyway, I will work my way through all the stuff as much as I can. I'm not a doctor, I cannot give medical advice, but go ahead and post your questions in your comments now. Let me introduce myself if you're new. My name is Kelly. I'm the creator and executive director of the Portland-based nonprofit More Than Lupus. And if you're joining for the first time, More Than Lupus is an inclusive community designed by lupus patients. That's what makes us special. Lupus patients to connect and to grow and to inspire you throughout the peaks and valleys of your lupus journey. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I do this at the beginning of every chat to remind myself and hopefully remind you that you are more than a sum of everything you think is wrong with you right now. You are more than lupus. So my name's Kelly. I love dance and music and good conversations. And I love flowers. I love makeup design. I love a good book. I love a good conversation and connecting with people one-on-one. It's my favorite thing. I love spending time with my family. And I got 2 puppies that are adorable, but a lot of work. And oh yeah, I happen to have lived with systemic lupus erythematosus since the age of 11. And came on pretty fast and furious. I was hospitalized most of those early years, my longest stay being 5 months in the hospital. I had surgeries and I've endured, besides dozens of hospitalizations, many rounds of intensive immunosuppressive therapy. I'm currently on a cocktail of many immunosuppressive therapies, including prednisone, which I've been on for a very long time. Can't seem to get off of it. And I am your facilitator for today's Facebook Live support chat, hang time, community gathering, forum, whatever you'd like to call it. I am here for you for this next little less than an hour now, okay? First things first, write where you're from, but if you have lupus or lupus overlap condition, and how you're doing, any questions, comments, concerns, and make sure you share this. And when you share this chat, write share it in the comments. That way we know, and we can get you into our drawing at the end for some lupus swag, okay? First, I want to let you know too that due to budget constrictions and also scheduling conflicts, we are not meeting in person for our monthly support group for the next few months. We will be back hopefully in May in person. However, we will still have our virtual group that meets the third Saturday of the month at 3 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, so 6 p.m. Eastern. Our next Zoom virtual appointment is March 15th. March 15th. I know a lot of people will say, hey, will you send me a link? I really want to be there. I'm going to make it this time. And then somehow, people forget or something comes up and they get distracted. I totally understand. But I'm telling you this enough time in advance. We'd love to have you March 15th. Make sure you put that on your calendar. And if you don't receive our emails, hi, Jean, please send us a message here and write it in the chat box and you will get added. So you'll receive the link to the Zoom. Also, we have our Getting to the Heart of the Matter Lupus and Heart Health virtual event with Dr. Don Thomas. It's up on YouTube. This was a very popular live. We had a great engaged audience live, and then we've had many people watch it since then. I think over 1,500 people have watched it. So there were so many pearls of life-saving wisdom, incredibly insightful and engaging event, all about improving your heart health. So please take a watch, share it. It's incredibly important that we stay up on our heart health. Pericarditis is one of the 11, along with pleurisy, criteria for the American College of Rheumatology's 11-point criteria for a lupus diagnosis, along with a physical exam, labs, and medical history. And that is the main thing that can happen with lupus. However, there are lots of other things that can happen with lupus in the heart, which is why we took the hour to go through everything. So that is there for you. Please watch on YouTube and also on this Facebook page. If you just scroll down, you'll see it there. And lastly, I'm taking a sip because I need a little shot before I talk about this. Hi there. Is this Nikki or is this Willie? I want to make sure I address the right person here. So happy to have you. We've got New York, we've got UK. Jean, where are you joining from for us again? Anyway, the last time I was live with you before I got sick last week, I made a plea to help because of all the stuff that's happening with funding right now. Nikki, hi, Nikki. Good to have you here. With all the stuff that's happening right now, and a lot of medical research grants being cut and funding being cut and research being put on hold, because of the trickle-down effect of that, we received notice that a few of our grants would not be renewed. So a lot of our absolutely essential funding that we rely on, because they're a very small nonprofit that does big work, is gone. So we're with these grants being cut and us running out of the means to continue to supply desperately needed services and support to the lupus community, it's getting to the point where it's getting kind of scary. And I wish I could say, after I talked about this 2 weeks ago, that people donated. Sadly, we barely made it to half of our $500 Facebook fundraiser. And it is the same wonderful giving people, the same small group of wonderful caring people that give over and over and over again. And it is just such a blessing to me. But I was thinking, our Facebook lives and our virtual events receive hundreds, if not thousands, of views. And if we could get every person watching today to donate $5, I mean, that's less than a cup of coffee now at Dutch Brothers or Starbucks or wherever you like to go. If we could get every person today to donate $5, we would be saved. We would be able to get through the year. So I guess I am asking from the bottom of my heart, would you please join me? Would you please donate $5 today? People who are watching this live, people who are streaming this later, I have poured 10 plus years of my life into lupus advocacy and support and not really gotten paid. And I gave up a paying position at another nonprofit to stay patient focused, to provide more of a patient-centered opportunity to spotlight and amplify the patient voice here at More Than Lupus. And I've never had a lot of funding, but this year is just unprecedented, excuse me, with the amount of drawbacks with the federal funding that has trickled down to us. If we don't receive supplemental funding, we will have to close. We won't be able to afford our streaming services. We won't be able to afford our social media management. We won't be able to afford, the resources that we provide here in person in the Portland metro area and beyond. We ship things to people. We do hospital visits. We take time to write blogs. We have partners that we cherish that come alongside of us and help us, like Dr. Thomas, who does things pro bono and who is incredibly helpful with medically vetting our blogs. But, the things that we do have require money. It takes money to have an office space here and to have a space to get mail and to be a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit. We will not be able to continue to do this. So all this, I'm going to say one last time, will you please donate $5 today and write in the comments that you donated $5. I'm going to do a drawing at the end of this, like as I mentioned, for a lupus swag bag. In fact, let me go ahead. I forgot to do this earlier. Probably not very helpful. I don't give you the link. So here is the donation link. $5. If everyone who watches this today, like I said, we have around 1,000 views on these lupus Facebook lives. Everyone donates $5 today. That will save us for the end of the year. Okay. It is $5. It's less than a cup of coffee. Please, please, please. I'm sounding desperate because I am desperate. Yeah, I am desperate. So anyway, before I go any further, please let me give you a brief disclaimer since I tend to get ahead of myself, and then I'm going to get into today's topic, which is about National Kidney Month and lupus and how it impacts the kidneys. We're going to talk about lupus nephritis. That is right. So listen up for this brief disclaimer. The More Than Lupus Facebook Lupus Live support chats are aimed to be a positive and open space where we can both give and receive support and encouragement from others. I am not a doctor, therefore I cannot give you medical advice or diagnose the symptoms that you are having. What I can do, and what we can do here, is provide you with information that hopefully you can in turn take back to your doctors and have an open and honest conversation about what is the best course of action for you. Additionally, this group is intended for those living with lupus or a lupus overlap illness. It's also intended to provide support and encouragement to those who know someone living with lupus, a friend, a family member, a coworker, a loved one, a neighbor. If you don't fall into these two categories, this is not the right chat for you. So please keep all comments positive and any inappropriate material will be deleted. I see it here and I will get rid of anything. Sometimes this chat gets shared into spaces that it shouldn't be shared and it gets spammed or whatever. And so I see it, I get rid of it. And then I will say to you, refresh your page and it will go away. Okay. And I want to remind everyone once again to please share this chat. The more that you care, the more you share, the more other people are aware. So there is that. Here we go. It is, oh, hi, Darian. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Mari with Lupus Spoons. So happy to see you here today. Yes, we are spotlighting lupus nephritis for National Kidney Month. So we're just going to go straight into it. What is lupus nephritis? And by the way, if you share this, right shared, if you donate $5 to the More Than Lupus link right there to help us out, to help us continue to do the work that we're doing, you will be entered into a drawing at the end of this live. So lupus nephritis is kidney inflammation caused by systemic lupus. Okay? So systemic lupus, or SLE, or systemic lupus erythematosus, is a chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease. So it's chronic. It's not a kidney infection that's going to go away. It's inflammatory. It causes inflammation, and it's an autoimmune. So your own natural defense system, your immune system, is producing cells, attack cells, those are called autoantibodies, that go after your own tissue by mistake. And when that happens, it causes swelling. And the swelling, if it's not treated, can cause tissue damage and even lead to organ failure. And one of the organs that notoriously likes to go after are your kidneys, okay? So, chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease, where your body's own cells attack organs by mistake, okay? When this happens, as I mentioned, it can cause tissue damage in various parts of the body. And some statistics vary, but it is believed that roughly half of people with systemic lupus will develop lupus nephritis, and roughly half of those who have lupus nephritis will have some sort of kidney failure. Your kidneys, that's scary. You got two people in a room that have systemic lupus, one of them is going to have kidney failure. And it could be you. And not to sound like Debbie Downer today, but that's why we're talking about this, okay? Your kidneys are really important because they are primary organs. They're the primary organs of what? The renal system. The renal system. And your renal system consists of not just your kidneys, but also your ureters and your urethra. So it's what your kidneys filter out your blood, and then the urine goes through the tubes and then goes out. Okay? It eliminates waste. That's what they do. And also controls your body's fluid levels, controls fluids in your bodies. So when you hear lupus nephritis, the nephritis part has its origins from Latin and Greek. It's late Latin and Greek. And the word nephros, and nephros, Nephros, means kidney. And then, of course, anything with an itis at the end of it, arthritis, nephritis, means inflammation. So it's kind of this Latin-Greek combo of meaning inflammation of the kidney, okay? Nephros, kidney, itis, inflammation. And lupus nephritis is unfortunately a frequent complication, as I mentioned, people who have systemic lupus. Sometimes it's one of the first things that comes out that people didn't even know that they had a problem. When this happens, though, when you get this excessive swelling in your kidneys are not able to function properly. They're not able to remove the waste from your body and from your blood and control the level of fluids in your body, okay? It can make you toxic. But the kidneys do more than just eliminate waste. The kidneys also play a really important part in regulating, as I mentioned, the fluids in your body, which include electrolytes, hormones, like in the electrolyte balance, there's calcium, there's potassium, and they also help maintain normal blood pressure. That's why they want to make sure your blood pressure is okay. And as I mentioned, they secrete hormones that balance of the body. Also, regarding red blood cells is a part of the kidney function. So if your kidneys are not doing their job, many parts of the body can be affected. And if you get into the danger zone, they can cause an array of symptoms. Let's talk a little bit about symptoms. Thank you, Nikki, for donating. Okay, guys. So I'm asking everybody who watches today, whether you're watching this live or streaming this later, to donate at the Applos link, $5. We have around 500 to 1,000 people who watch these chats every week. If every person donated $5, that would save us for a little bit of time. As I've been continuing to tell people, our funding was cut We get 3 grants that we no longer are getting this year as of 2025, and we are in a real pickle. So I know a lot of people are dealing with inflation. Some people have lost their jobs, and times are really rough right now. $5 is less than a cup of coffee. If you could, we would desperately, we're desperately in need of those fundings, and we would be grateful beyond. Just thank you so much. Thank you, Nikki. You will be entered into the drawing. Carrie, you'll be entered into the drawing. Thank you. Mara, you'll be entered into the drawing. Thank you for everyone who's saying they've shared this chat and they've donated. Okay, common symptoms. The thing about lupus nephritis is if you were diagnosed with systemic lupus nephritis usually, not always, but most often develops within the first 5 years of a lupus diagnosis. Sometimes the diagnosis, people have it, they didn't even realize they had it. It is more common in women of color, so we're talking about Alaskan Native, Indigenous, Hispanic, Black, and Asian AAPI descent between the ages of 15 and 44. And women of color tend to develop the disease earlier and experience more serious complications. Not to say that men do not get lupus nephritis, because men get it, and when they get it, it's really bad. It's really bad. It can be a serious problem. However, the onset of the symptoms are not very obvious, which is what makes it tricky. This can be dangerous because people may not know that they have the beginnings of lupus nephritis for a while. Sometimes the first symptom that people notice is not back pain like with a kidney infection or a kidney stone, okay? It's edema, and that is swelling, okay? And as I mentioned before, if kidneys don't proper the right way, they're not going to be able to balance the fluids in your body, so you'll start to have a buildup of fluid. That will show in the legs, in the ankles, and the feet because of gravity. That's the first spots, all right? Some people even notice it in their face and in their belly, but mainly legs, ankles, feet. So if you were recently diagnosed with lupus, systemic lupus, and it's been a year or two, and all of a sudden you are noticing that your feet are swelling, your ankles are swelling, you wear socks and there's like an indentation on your socks when you take them off because they're too tight, or your shoes feel too tight, that is edema. As I mentioned, sometimes the face, the eyelids, even the hands can appear puffy as well. So that's the first thing people usually notice about themselves. Sometimes if they do like what I do, where every time you pee, you look at your pee because you are trying to be on top of things, you may see some blood in your urine, but usually it's more, you might notice your urine is bubbly. You might notice it looks a little foamy, might be a little bit darker or discolored. So foamy, dark, discolored, bubbly urine, all right? That's not normal. That's not normal. Also, you may have high blood pressure. As I mentioned, your kidneys help regulate your blood pressure. So if you start to notice some swelling, if you start to notice that your pee looks funny, doesn't look the same as it did before, it's bubbly, it's foamy, it's dark. If you went to another doctor, had your blood pressure taken, it was high, or you have a blood pressure cuff at home and you took it and it's high, those are things, especially at night, if you need to urinate a lot at night too. If you experience any of these symptoms, talk to your doctor as soon as possible. It is so important to be on top of lupus nephritis and to get treatment that is appropriate and timely, all right? Because these could be signs. These could be signs that your lupus is active and it's starting to fester in your kidneys and inflame your kidneys. If you do not act, if you do not take care of it, or if you refuse to be compliant and go to the doctor and do the things that they said you could do, it could lead to irreversible kidney damage, including internal scarring of your kidneys. It can lead to a point where you may have to lose a kidney or try and get a new kidney or go on dialysis. And anyone who has been on dialysis can tell you it is not a walk in the park. It is an absolute overhaul of your life, and you have to live there practically for several days a week. Have your blood cleaned by a machine because your kidneys are not cleaning your blood and filtering out all the toxins that are in your blood. It is a pain in the butt, and it's not fun. And there's two different types of dialysis. I'll get into that in a second. Okay. All right. So you think you may have lupus nephritis. You're seeing some swelling. Your pee looks a little bit weird. You know that this is the possibility with your illness. You're newly diagnosed. So the first signs of lupus nephritis often appear not as symptoms, but as abnormal urine lab tests. This may lead your doctor to do further blood tests and even a kidney biopsy to assess how much of your kidney is impacted by the disease. It's the disease progression you want to see. Now, a kidney biopsy is when a nephrologist is a kidney specialist, okay? You may see a urologist, but most likely you will see a nephrologist. And I know when people hear about doing a kidney biopsy, it sounds scary, it feels overwhelming, but they remove first of all, they got better tools now. They've got this down. It's a very common procedure. They remove a tiny sample of tissue, just the teeniest tiny sample of tissue for analysis. And it sounds scary, but the procedure is the most definitive test for diagnosing lupus nephritis. In fact, unless you have a biopsy, you do not know exactly where you're at. The labs can fluctuate. Your urine can fluctuate. But the biopsy will tell you it's a definitive test for diagnosing lupus nephritis and determining how severe. It's measured in classes/stages. It is. Now, I'm just going to see if I can copy. Can I? Here are the blood tests, urine tests. The things are looking. Is that going to work? Paste. No, it's not going to work. Shoot, wait. Oh, I know what I can do. Hold on. There we go. Now I'll see if I can do it. Shoot, I'm just trying to. I'll post it later. Okay, I'll put it in the comments later. You've got blood tests where they're going to look at certain things in your blood. The urine tests, they're going to look for your what they call your bun level. They look for blood. They're going to look for protein spill in the urine as well. And the amount of protein can kind of determine to give them an idea of kind of where your kidney function is at. We're going to look at a few things. So after all of these tests are evaluated, your doctor will help find the right treatment protocol if there is a diagnosis of lupus nephritis. Now, what are the treatment options? Obviously, the earlier the appropriate treatment is applied and implemented, the better the outcome. Patient compliance is so very important because it could mean the difference between slowing down and even stopping and even reversing kidney disease. Yes, you can go from a stage 4 to a stage 2 or a stage 1. It can prevent, it can slow down, it can reverse kidney disease and permanent damage. And you do not want to be doing dialysis for the rest of your life or have to have a kidney replacement and then have to have that kidney fail and then have to do it again. It is an awful surgery. It's not fun doing dialysis. It's constant management. of your port and your lines and I mean, it is rough. It is rough. Okay. So if you listen to your doctors and they say, this is what we're going to do. And I've got the classes here as well. Once they do sorry, I'm giving you a lot of information here. Once they do the biopsy, they look at the cells and they can class it. As I mentioned, it comes in stages and classes, right? They can class lupus nephritis by looking at the cells in the kidney. And so it's all there, and I'll post this there in the comments so you can look at it afterwards. For whatever reason, it's not allowing me to cut and paste these images. So common treatments for lupus nephritis, once you get your diagnosis, once they tell you where you're at, include medications to reduce that kidney damage by lowering the inflammation. Now, the first thing they're going to want to see if you need to be on steroids, corticosteroids. Sadly, corticosteroids is the fastest acting medication that we have. If you are in a pickle and you have a lot of swelling in your kidney, you want to get that swelling down as soon as possible. So lowering the inflammation with medications like corticosteroids and immunosuppressive therapies like cyclophosphamide, cyclosporin, azathioprine, mycophenolate, Rituxan, now Benlysta. Those are the things that they're going to do. Sometimes they will put you on blood thinners as well. But as in last year, we actually have 2 new therapies to treat lupus nephritis the last few years. Benlysta, which was first approved for systemic lupus and then lupus nephritis a couple years ago, and lupkynis. And excuse me, lupkynis is the kind of cousin drug to cyclosporin. It's voclosporin, and it helps with the kidney filtering as well. So usually, they pair them together. They'll pair corticosteroids at a higher dose to get that swelling down, but they'll also put you on, Benlysta, which it's a non-steroidal biologic therapy, and same thing with lupkynis, and it works on the immune system differently. And the goal is, since lupkynis and Benlysta take a little bit of time to kick in, you get that swelling down through the use of corticosteroids as the other medications ramping up, and then you can taper down as this medication is working. The non-steroidal biologic is working better, or the immunosuppressive therapy is working better. You can kind of come down off the steroids. The goal is to come off the steroids and not be on them all the time. So, Benlysta is given as a once a month infusion. So is in lupkynis, and Benlysta has actually been proven to be really helpful in the progression of renal damage to reduce, the progression of renal damage over time. So that is fantastic. So besides those medications, lupus nephritis can be helped by a person controlling their blood pressure, their cholesterol levels, if diabetes, and keeping a healthy BMI. We talked about this last week with the heart health conversation. Your heart is impacted by these things, and so are your kidneys. So we want to make sure your cholesterol levels are in a good, healthy range, that if you are type 2, that you can get those levels down, that if you are inactive, or if you have a high BMI, that's something that you continue to work on, and that your blood pressure is within a safe range. Those are things that can really end not well and kind of bulldoze into late stage kidney disease. So thank you everyone for donating. Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Thank you again, Nikki. So late stage renal disease or renal failure, and we're talking, class 5, class 6, a kidney transplant may be the best option. Now, lupus nephritis patients are faced with the decision to move forward with a transplantation after dialysis And dialysis is the process of an external machine doing the work of the kidneys by filtering waste products and fluids from the blood that's in the body. You literally take your blood out through a machine, it cleans it for you, and it goes back into your body, your blood that's been cleaned. And when your kidneys can no longer do that, it is a danger to your life. As I mentioned, it controls not just your waste in your body, but also hormones, and calcium, and all these other things. And so the only option is to do dialysis. So dialysis can be done through the arm, and dialysis can also done through the stomach, and that's called peritoneal dialysis. I actually wrote a very long blog on this. Let's see if I can find it, talking about the two different types of dialysis. The reason why a lot of lupus nephritis patients have to do dialysis is that it can be very difficult to find a donor match. If you don't have a direct match through a family member, you go into a registry. And for a long time, lupus patients were not considered priority because of the way that the disease fluctuates, and they'd be considered like a risk to give a lupus patient a kidney if they were going to have other disease flares that would just attack the kidney that was donated. They almost considered it like a waste. Thankfully, we've moved out of that kind of old school bias thinking and realize that lupus patients deserve to have their lives prolonged through kidney donation. Even so, the wait list is a pain and can be anywhere from months to years. And most people wait years to receive a kidney match. A living donor, which is often a family member or a friend with a perfect match, is definitely the shorter way to do it. It will cut your waiting period considerably. Your blood type can influence as well. How much time you wait for a kidney and wait for the right match. So it's the National Kidney Registry that will kind of let you know if you are a good match for people, and you can be added to your to their donor database. There we go. So I'll post it here, and you can read more about it if you know someone who might consider being a donor, or you're looking for a donor. All of that. So people do find that a kidney transplant can drastically improve their lupus nephritis symptoms for a long time, and can even help them achieve remission. Remission does not mean that they've been cured. Lupus in all of its forms, it's in our DNA. It's in our cells. It can go into remission, but our DNA does not change. It is what it is. Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm such a downer today. But remission is what the goal is, right? Remission, remission, remission. And many people find that after a kidney transplant, their symptoms improve for a very long time, can even achieve remission. But they do stay on immunosuppressive therapies. And hopefully with this new what's the word I'm looking for? Rein on life, you decide to do healthy lifestyle changes to take care of that new kidney, and don't don't go back to the high cholesterol and the high blood pressure and not eating things that are good for you, right? So here are some suggestions on how to be proactive with your kidney health for when you are dealing with kidney involvement with lupus. It is important to eat less sodium, which is salt, I know. A lot of those new seasonings, though, like the Mr. Dash or Mrs. Dash, whatever they're called, they're salt-free and they taste great. I use them on my stuff all the time. So eating less sodium can control your blood pressure and help with swelling. Let me put this here. Okay. Eating smaller portions of food that have a lot of lean protein are better for you, too, in your kidneys. Cutting back on foods with saturated fats. I know I like my butter too in my cooking by switching more towards olive oil, cut back on foods with saturated fats like butter and fatty meats. If you drink alcohol, alcohol is one of those things where we hear, I know a couple glasses of wine is good for lupus. Oh no, it's really bad. Oh, and everyone is different. Everyone is different. But what they say for your kidneys is to drink in moderation. Drink in moderation. And work with your doctor to control your blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol. These are really essential in maintaining kidney function. And take your medication. If you've been diagnosed with lupus nephritis, you want to make sure that your kidneys are not experiencing any sort of damage that may be irreversible. So how do you stop that? You do what your doctor tells you to do. And I know it's really difficult because sometimes you get these medications and you read the backs and you go online and they sound scary, but your doctor is giving you, whether it's Benlysta or Imuron or Cellcept, and even steroids, your doctor is saying, this is going to save your kidneys. You must have your kidneys to live. Okay, I know people can live on one, but you want to have two. Two is the goal, right? If they say, listen, we're going to have you on this high dose of steroids for 6 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever, and we're going to start you on Benlysta subcutaneous, or we're going to start you on lupus, or we're going to start you on Cellcept. They're going to work together, and then we're going to take you down with the steroids, but you have to do this the right way. I beg you, please do it. You're not going to like the side effects of the steroids, I understand, but guess what? When your kidneys are toxic, you're going to act even worse. Have you ever been around someone who's toxic? And I mean literally toxic because their kidneys are failing? It can cause delirium. It can cause you to not be yourself. Your personality changes, your hormones are all, your electrolytes are all thrown off. You're not yourself. I've had people scream at me and I'm like, what's happened to you? And it was because they were in kidney failure. Okay. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Because they hadn't had their dialysis or they didn't know that they were toxic, all these different things. Okay. It's better to do the medicine now, and then get down on the steroids as the other biologic or some immunosuppressive therapy kicks in, and it will prevent from irreversible kidney damage. Okay. And if you stay on these guys and you do the thing with your doctor telling you to be proactive with your eating and exercising, getting your cholesterol levels down, your BMI down, cutting back on foods, saturated fats, then you can even reverse some of the kidney damage. It depends on where you're at. So there you go. So I really wanted to end this session because we only have 10 minutes here and I want to get to our giveaway. Okay, who's donated so far? We're asking everyone to donate. Please, please, please donate right here to this link. $5, because we've got hundreds of people watching these chats every week. If everyone donates $5 today, that's less than a cup of coffee, guys. We will be able to continue throughout the year with the services we provide. We are desperate right now for funding because we've had 3 grants cut. 3 grants cut. Okay, and this was the stuff that we, as a very small nonprofit, I do not take a paycheck. No one's paid here. We're not going on any big fancy trips. I'm doing everything I could possibly think of to bring in funding, but we don't have the money to put on fundraisers. It takes money to do a big gala. We don't even have that. So I'm really starting to get scared and frustrated, and just I'm asking for $5 today. $5. Oops, I just posted the organ dollar. Well, that's important too. But let me go to my other one here. This is the one I was trying to post. There you go. Give $5 to our website here. You'll be entered into the drawing at the end of this chat. Okay? The thing that makes us unique is that we're patient-run and we're patient-focused at More Than Lupus. Every person involved on our board has some direct tie to lupus. All of our blogs, besides the maybe 3 that are written by rheumatologists and therapists, are written by lupus patients. And all the things that we do are absolutely because we feel that we need to amplify the patient voice and fill the patient needs that aren't being met. So I want to end with some stories that were from people who are a part of our More Than Lupus community. So we covered what lupus nephritis is, possible symptoms, diagnostic tests, common treatment options, but what does it actually feel like living with it? And, your daily life, school, job, family planning. So Danielle, who is a part of our lupus community, she said, I think the biggest challenge with living with lupus nephritis for me is planning to start a family. I'm on Cellcept, which is mycophenolate, and can't take Imuron as a thiopurine. I can't be on Cellcept if I want to try and start a family, but I'm worried that if I come off of it, I will flare during pregnancy. These are the things that people with lupus nephritis have to think about. Here's Micah. Micah is a sister to Genesis, and Genesis passed away about 5 years ago of complications from lupus nephritis and infection. And Genesis was our teenage ambassador for More Than Lupus. And Micah also has systemic lupus, her younger sister, and lupus nephritis. And she says, being a teenager with lupus nephritis means I have a lot of doctor's appointments. It's hard to talk to friends who don't have issues like this because it is a lot. I have infusions, lab tests, and special diet protocols. When I'm in the hospital, I'm isolated a lot. I have to ask for special accommodations at school, which can be hard. But my mom, my sister, and my primary care physician were and are helpful. I love how she gives her sister a shout out there. And that was Micah, who is a systemic lupus and lupus nephritis patient. This is from Nicole. Living with lupus nephritis makes you a fighter. Many become one early in life because the disease can start as a child, and it changes the way you see the world. You must live every day carefully, watching how much you do, what types of foods you eat, and how run down you get. If you don't, you can get caught in a terrible flare and suffer the consequences for months. I urge you, if you're living with this disease, to please take it seriously. Change your lifestyle and food choices if necessary. Do everything you can to protect yourself and your kidneys. As a 17-year lupus and lupus survivor, she gave this to me a couple years, she probably maybe longer than this, 19. I can tell you firsthand that careful management of your disease will greatly increase your life expectancy. And that was Nicole, systemic lupus and lupus nephritis patient. Here's May. So many challenges living with lupus nephritis: blood, brain, bone, and heart involvement. Social challenges, missing school and other events. Strict dietary challenges, weakness, swollen limbs, and gout. There are also career challenges with lupus fog and blood toxicity, not to mention financial hardships and medication side effects. And that's May. It's Mahana, but we call her May. Systemic lupus and lupus nephritis patients. And I'm going to close with my quote. Having kidney issues with lupus is like living with a dormant volcano inside your body. You never know when it may become active, so you become an expert at knowing what the signs and signals are. You stay vigilant, so you are ready to act when it bubbles to the surface. And that's why I look at my pee every time I go to the bathroom. And that is why we get our labs and our urine checked every 3 months. Because every 3 months, they will be able to pick up the slightest change in your kidney function through your pee, through your labs, and be able to be like, uh-oh, what's going on here, before it becomes a problem. And that's when they may say, need to have a biopsy or need to talk about further testing, okay? Thank you for all of you to donate $5. If you donated $5, I'm going to just put you in right now. I've got my spin the wheel, and we're going to give away a lupus awareness sweatshirt, water bottle, a wristband, and I think there are sunglasses in there too. And you do have to live in the US, and I'm really sorry about that. I should have said that at the top. Where's my spin out? Okay, spin the wheel. Here we go. Because it's really hard to deliver things. Here we go, spin the wheel. Let's do a new one here. Okay. We've got, who do we have here? I know Nikki. Add. We've got okay. Hi guys, I'm gonna say hi to everybody. And if there's any questions or comments, well, here's one. I was diagnosed with systemic lupus based on my abnormal last of T. I'm doing okay, just hate to be on this hydroxychloroquine and what it could possibly do to me. Well, if you go back, Nikki, and watch the Heart of the Matter lupus virtual event we did last week with Dr. Don Thomas, who wrote the Lupus Encyclopedia. He's our medical advisor here. He went on a hydroxychloroquine tangent about how it is literally the lupus life-saving insurance policy. It stops your lupus from getting worse. It is protection not only against your vital organs, but it's been shown to help with blood pressure, with glucose levels, with overall health in many ways. And by the way, you'll never get malaria. So it is a life-saving. I will never come off of that medication until they tell me that my eyes are being affected, which, by the way, he said it's a very, very, very small percentage of people who have eye involvement, which is why we get our eyes checked, just to be on the safe side. It is the safest medication that we have. It is the best one to be on and always stay on. I don't know. I'm not trying to convince you, but I kind of am. I kind of am. Okay. So, shared it. Thank you. Okay. So we got Mary here. We got Jean. Thank you, Jean. $5. All I'm asking. $5 donation here. Where did it go? Please. There you go. Okay. I got Jean in there. I got Darian. I've been told I sound desperate, and you know what? Desperate times. I'm telling you right now. Carolyn, thank you so much. Carolyn, awesome. I got Jean in there. Wonderful. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think Naomi's in here too. Did I miss anybody? And I'm asking for everybody who's watching this later, who streams this later. I know we have, anywhere from 500 to 2,000 views on our Monday Facebook Lupus Live support chats, and they're shared all over the world. I'm asking everyone who watches this chat today to donate $5 so that we can continue to do the work that we're doing today. It is incredibly, incredibly important work that I take very seriously, and I've been doing this work for over 10 years and pouring into it and not really getting paid. I left a paying position to form more than lupus and haven't taken a paycheck. I take a small per diem to help pay for my office expenses because I have a home office here. But other than that, that is it. And it is all based on donations that help us to do all the things we do, whether it's our very robust social media platform. We post more than anyone out there, multiple times a day, to getting the best rheumatologists around the US to come and remove that barrier to care and answer your questions to traveling to DC and the American College of Rheumatology Summit to get information to bring back to you, to advocate for more lupus funding, to be a part of steering committees where our voices are being heard, the patient voice, to change, injustices in our medical system. All that's done through this small but mighty nonprofit, More Than Lupus. And I'm so thankful for everyone who's donated today. And please, please, please donate $5. If you can make it a recurring donation, which is an option for the donation platform that we have, that would be incredible as well. We have one person who does a monthly donation, and she's someone that I know very closely. And she's like, it's a cup of coffee. It's a cup of coffee once a month. It's a cup of coffee once a month. And I'm just so incredibly thankful for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Elizabeth, okay. You got it there. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Elizabeth. I'm putting that in there. I'm putting you in there, Elizabeth. And then we can finish this up here. And then, okay, here we go. That's a spam. Sorry about that. No herbal remedies here. Okay, great. Great. Perfect. Okay, we'll continue. Let's do this little spin. All right, guys. It's Jean. Jean, thank you so much and congratulations. I'm so thankful to everyone who donated $5 today. Once again, we're going to be doing this every week, okay? Because it is work. Oh, you're hitting from both sides. I love that. Elizabeth, Nikki. I'm so thankful for everyone who came today, who shared this today, who donated today. If you're streaming this later, please continue to donate to this link. We are kind of in a desperate moment right here. We want to be able to continue everything we do here, including these Lupus Lives, every Monday. And please, if you haven't done so, check out the Heart of the Matter virtual event that we had by Dr. Don Thomas. And also, if you'd like to join us the third Saturday of the month, that's the 15th, for our virtual support group. You'll get to meet everybody and see a lot of great faces. And we are here for you as that. So throughout this month, you're going to be hearing from patients with lupus nephritis. You're going to be hearing about medications that help treat lupus nephritis for National Kidney Month. You're also going to be hearing about gut health because March is Gut Health Month. And also March is Women's History Month. So we're going to be spotlighting some doctors that we love who are that identify as female and that have done amazing work in the lupus community. So stay tuned. A lot coming your way. We've got so much work to do. We cannot stop now. See, here we go. Right before we log off, we get all the spammers. Anyway, we cannot stop now. I'm so thankful for all of you today. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. Take care, all. Bye-bye for now.